Imagine looking up and seeing the moon shatter into a billion glowing shards of rock and ice. If the moon suddenly exploded, the night sky would instantly become a chaotic field of blinding light. This is not a distant spectacle. It is the beginning of a total planetary catastrophe for Earth. The immediate blast would send a massive shockwave of debris hurtling toward our atmosphere at incredible speeds. Most people would be mesmerized by the beauty of the exploding moon before the first rocks hit. To understand this disaster, we must look at the violent mechanical breakdown of our entire global environment. The debris from the explosion would eventually form a glowing ring of jagged rocks around our planet. This ring would look beautiful, but it would effectively trap humanity on the surface of the Earth. Any satellite in orbit would be pulverized by the constant barrage of lunar shrapnel within the first day. Global communication systems, GPS, and weather tracking would vanish as our space infrastructure is completely destroyed. We would be cut off from the rest of the solar system by a permanent cloud of debris. The era of space exploration would end in a single night of fire and falling lunar stone. Within days, a phenomenon known as the white sky would begin as lunar dust enters the atmosphere. This fine dust would reflect sunlight back into space, causing the daytime sky to turn a pale white. Global temperatures would plummet as the sun's warmth is blocked by the thick layer of orbital soot. We would experience a sudden volcanic winter that lasts for decades, killing off crops and freezing the oceans. Agriculture would fail on a massive scale, leading to a global famine that kills millions of people. The world would become a cold and dark place, where survival is a daily struggle for everyone. The gravity of the moon is the only thing that keeps Earth's axial tilt stable and consistent. Without the moon, our planet would begin to wobble wildly, like a spinning top that is losing speed. This would cause extreme and unpredictable shifts in our seasons over the next few thousand years. The North Pole could eventually point directly at the sun, melting all the ice and flooding the world. Our weather patterns would become a chaotic mess of superstorms and permanent droughts that never truly end. We would lose the stability that allowed human civilization to grow and thrive in the first place. Before we dive back into the chaos of an exploding moon, if you're enjoying the video so far, hit that subscribe button. Now, back to the destruction. The most immediate physical impact would be the total and absolute collapse of the global ocean tides. The moon's gravity pulls on our oceans, creating the rhythmic rising and falling of the sea levels. Without that pull, the tides would shrink to a fraction of their original size and power. Marine ecosystems that rely on tidal movements would be completely wiped out in a matter of weeks. The massive currents that move heat around the planet would stop, causing the climate to shatter even further. Coastal cities would see their harbors turn into stagnant pools of rotting seaweed and dying sea life. A rain of fire would begin as the largest pieces of lunar debris finally fall into our atmosphere. These meteors would strike the Earth with the force of nuclear bombs, leveling entire cities in an instant. The impact of a single large fragment could kick up enough dust to block the sun forever. We would be living under a constant threat of moonfall that could happen at any given moment. Governments would have to move entire populations into deep underground bunkers just to avoid the falling rocks. This is not a storm you can wait out. It is a permanent change to our environment. Human psychology would shift toward a state of existential dread as we lose our oldest celestial companion. The moon has been a constant part of our culture, religion, and calendars since the very beginning. Its absence would create a deep sense of loss and confusion that affects every person on the planet. We would have to rewrite our concept of time and our place in the vast and dark. The night would become pitch black, lit only by the terrifying glow of the deadly orbital ring. Every culture would have to find a new way to explain the empty space in the sky. Advanced technology would be our only hope for surviving the freezing temperatures and the lack of food. We would have to build massive indoor farms, lit by artificial suns to keep our species alive. Energy production would become the most valuable resource on Earth as we fight the cold and dark. Nuclear power and geothermal energy would be the only things keeping our underground cities warm and functional. Survival would depend entirely on our ability to maintain the machines in a world that is dying. This would be a high-tech battle against a planet that no longer supports human life at all. The loss of the moon would also affect the rotation speed of the Earth over a long time. The moon's gravity creates a tidal friction that slowly breaks the spinning of our entire planet today. Without this friction, the Earth would start to spin faster, making our days much shorter than before. Winds would reach speeds of hundreds of miles per hour as the atmosphere struggles to keep up. This would create a world of permanent hurricanes that make living on the surface almost impossible for us. Our civilization would have to adapt to a planet that is literally spinning out of control. In the end, the explosion of the moon would turn Earth into a cold and hostile alien world. We would be a species of survivors living in the shadows of a planet we no longer recognize. The dream of a bright future would be replaced by the reality of a long and dark struggle. The story of humanity would become one of endurance in a universe that does not care about us. The empty sky would be a constant reminder of the night the world changed forever and always. We are just a small part of a violent solar system that is constantly shifting and breaking.